If you haven't read the book Atomic Habits, I highly recommend that you do. In this video, I'm going to break down how I helped my client Jesse lose 75 pounds and get completely shredded by implementing Atomic Habits. The best part, we documented the whole process. Check it out.
And you work out and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. If you go to the gym the next day and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. Clearly there's no results, can't be measured, it must not be effective. So we quit. It's not about the events. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency, right? You go to the dentist twice a year, your teeth will fall out. You have to brush your teeth every day for 2 minutes. What does brushing your teeth twice a day for 2 minutes do? Nothing. Unless you do it every day, twice a day for 2 minutes. Right? It's the consistency. Going to the gym for 9 hours does not get you into shape.
So I love that audio in that clip because that's how we should look at our health and fitness. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. You ever worked out really hard and dieted for like a whole month and didn't see results that you wanted and you gave up? Or maybe you did something hard like 75 hard, or you work out twice a day, you have to stick to a strict diet, you have to take a picture of yourself every day, read daily, and maybe at the end of it, you might have saw some results, but since the process was so intense, you ended up taking a hiatus and ended up right back where you started. Either one can be a vicious cycle. In Atomic Habits, James Clear gives practical advice on how to change your habits and to get 1% better every day without the feeling of burnout. So here's how the math works out. If you get 1% better every single day, for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better when you're done. However, if you get 1% worse by the end of 1 year, you'll decline all the way to 0. So I'm not gonna bore you with the whole summary of the whole book, but we can break it down to these 3 key lessons. The first lesson, small habits make a big difference.
Trying to get some workouts in. Obviously, I wasn't making the time. I always think someone can make the time, but what's the minimum amount of days a week that you need to potentially work out to start losing some weight and getting fit?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think everybody is different. I don't want to put an actual number on there, but just get moving. So if you're not doing anything, try to do 2 times a week. And then from there, week by week, try to increase that every day. So I think with you, we started about 1 time a week and then 2 times a week. And now you're like 5 or 6. So it's about gradually improving over and over. It just depends where you're at.
Yeah, it's just like business. You can't start getting, let's relate back to real estate. You can't have a bunch of deals before you know what you're doing. You have you have building blocks and you have steps to getting to your goals. A lot of people, and I was known to do this too, I would go work out 6 straight days and then I would kill myself and then I stopped. And then 2 months later, I'd be like, I'm back on it. It was really, we put together a slow, methodical plan for myself. And it's obviously worked. And once you get into that routine, now I feel weird not working out, or I feel super guilty in knowing when I'm eating bad because I know what I'm putting into my body and it makes me feel sick.
So if you have a health and fitness goal, you have to fall in love with the power of small wins. So in that clip, we shared how Atomic Habits relates to the workouts, but it's also the same with the food. To lose 1 pound of fat, you need to create a calorie deficit of 3,500. So that's about 500 calories per day. The problem that I've experienced is most people who are looking to lose weight are so desperate and they want it so fast, they go in a deficit of like 1,000 or more per day. So they might get some initial success, but what happens is they end up wrecking their metabolism and they hit a plateau and then they eventually just burn out and quit and going back to where they started, or even worse, gain more weight.
Slow and steady is always the best way.
I agree. Yeah. We have a full year plan for me. Like we put together a year plan. Yeah. So you're going to have some bad weeks, but it's a long-term plan. I'm not trying to get instant results. It's a lifestyle change. It's something that I've wanted to do for a while. I just knew the shape I put myself in, and I knew the task I was going to get out of it. And I kept delaying that for a long time, but I finally got to a point to where I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the first, 2 big steps is like, number 1, you got to get real with yourself. Everybody knows like, damn, I'm drinking too much, or I'm overeating too much, or I'm not eating enough, or I just don't know what to do. So you got to look in the mirror and get real with yourself. I think you actually did that. You look and you're like, all right, I remember the call. You called me like, all right, man, I need help. I need a plan. I need something that can help me out. So number 1, get real with yourself, realize where you're at. And number 2, get some support if you need it. If you haven't achieved your goal and it's been years, you have to get real with yourself and you know that you need support. So it can be a trainer, a coach, a friend, somebody who's in better shape than you.
Could one of y'all pass me a biscuit?
You got another 5 miles, then you get a Luna bar.
Come on.
and get that support, and then you'll be on your way.
The second lesson from Atomic Habits is forget about setting the goals and focus on your systems instead. Goals are about the results that you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. So if you're having trouble changing your habit, the problem isn't you, the problem is your system. So bad habits repeat themselves over and over, and not because you don't want to change, but you have the wrong system for change. So here's a tip that I do with all of my clients.
So I found that tracking habits is probably one of the most effective things you can do to creating a lifelong effective plan. So when you're a busy person, you don't really realize your blind spots. So tracking your habits does major improvements on your fitness and your lifestyle in general. So what it does for you, it allows you to slow down and actually look at what you're doing every day. So for example, me, before I used to not drink enough water. Some days I would skip my meditation. Some days I would even skip my workouts. But when I started tracking my habits, it kind of slowed me down and let me look at my lifestyle and be like, oh, wow, I'm not actually doing what I said I was going to do. I'm not drinking enough water. I'm not doing the things that I need to do to improve my lifestyle. So it sounds like a lot tracking your habits, but I have an app for you that makes it really simple. So it's called Habit Share. So on Habit Share is really simple. I use this with a lot of my clients. I'm giving you guys a plug right now, right? So all you have to do, put your habits in, and then all you have to do is press a green or red. So I really like this because what it does, it ultimately changes your habits for the good, and it almost makes it like a game. So every time you do a habit, you click the button, you get a green, and that gives you a dopamine rush, and it makes you want to have more effective, more good habits. And when you hit that red, it doesn't feel so good, but you can at least see where you're at. One of my favorite features of the app is that you can have the ability to share with your friends. So most people have a hard time with accountability or just being consistent. So the app allows you to share with the friends. So what I do with my clients, I'm all connected with my clients, and I also have friends connected. So that way, when they're drinking their water, when they're doing their exercise, the app actually gives you a trigger, and it makes you realize, oh yeah, I gotta do my water, my workout, my meditation, whatever habits that you put in there. So I love this feature of the app. So once you download it, make sure you add a friend, a coach, or whatever, and you guys track your habits together.
Final lesson, and the biggest lesson from Atomic Habits, is to build identity-based habits. So our current behaviors are simply a reflection of our current identity. So what you do now is a mirror of an image of a type of person that you believe that you are, either consciously or subconsciously. Changing your beliefs isn't as hard as you might think. These are the 2 steps that it requires. So number 1, decide the person that you want to become. Number 2, prove it to yourself with small wins. Every time you complete a habit, you essentially are giving yourself a vote for the person that you want to become.
So I guess this is where I'll get a little bit more vulnerable, but even 2, 3, 4 years ago, when I did have some of that financial success, for some reason, and it just lingered and lingered and lingered, I would not let myself be the best version of me. And I still haven't truly found out why I sabotaged myself. But since I had this financial success, I think I purposely sabotaged myself to get heavier, because I'm like, why do I deserve to be the best person of me? Why do I deserve to be successful, to be fit, to be truly happy, to have the woman of my dreams that's in the other room? For some reason, I wouldn't let myself have all of it. And then finally one day, I was like, I deserve it. Why not me? That's when I really flipped the switch. And that's when my journey, I've lost 75 pounds in the last 14 months.
I hope this video was an inspiration for you and helpful. If you haven't read the book Atomic Habits, I highly suggest you check it out. If you resonate with Jesse's story and you're looking to get in the best shape of your life and you want a step-by-step process that's going to help you get there, make sure you click the link and we can schedule a chat. Don't forget to subscribe and check out more videos. Peace.